Here is something almost nobody tells you. When researchers tracked happiness across the whole span of a human life all around the world, they found the unhappiest stretch of all is not old age. It is the mid to late 40s, and from the 50s onward, happiness does not fall, it climbs. It keeps right on climbing through the 60s, the 70s, and beyond. So if somewhere along the way you started believing the best of your life is behind you, that you are winding down, running out of road, then I want you to stay with me tonight. Because the science says something almost the exact opposite, and I think it is about time somebody told you. Let me say this gently, right at the start. If you have been feeling like your best days are over, nothing is wrong with you for thinking that. You did not invent that idea. You have been soaking in it your whole life. Every advertisement aimed at the young, every birthday card that treats getting older like a punchline. A whole culture that quietly whispers that once you pass a certain age, you are supposed to step aside and fade politely into the background. Of course, a piece of you absorbed that. Anyone would. But absorbing a message is not the same as that message being true. And this one, my friend, is simply not true. Let me show you what I mean, and tell me if you recognize yourself. Somewhere along the line, you started saying a certain little phrase, "I am too old for that." You hear about something new, something that sparks a flicker of interest, and almost before the spark catches, that phrase swoops in and puts it out. I am too old to learn that, too old to start that, too old to go there. If that phrase lives in your mouth, I want you to notice it tonight, because we are going to have a gentle word with it. It has been bossing you around for far too long, and it has been lying to you the whole time. And maybe it feels, sometimes, like the whole world was built for the young. The shows, the music, the fast little phones, the way everybody seems to be rushing toward something. And you can start to feel like a guest at a party that is really meant for somebody else. Like you should keep quiet and not take up too much room. Now, here is a thought to keep in your back pocket. Half the time, those young folks rushing around are stressed out of their minds, comparing themselves to everyone, terrified of getting it wrong. You already survived all of that. You are not behind them. In a great many of the ways that actually matter, you are out ahead. So let me say it plainly. Believing the story that aging is all decline is one of the most normal things in the world, because that story is absolutely everywhere. But it is a story. It is not a fact. And the moment you start to see it as just a story, something it told you that you never had to believe, the whole thing begins to lose its grip. Stay with me, because now I want to show you the facts, and the facts are wonderful. Here is the research, and it surprised even the scientists who found it. Dr. Laura Carstensen and her team at Stanford have spent more than 30 years studying how people actually feel as they age. And what they found turns the whole gloomy story on its head. As people grow older, they report fewer negative emotions, not more. Less anger, less fear, less worry. And just as much joy and calm as anyone half their age, often more. When her team first saw the results, they did not even believe them. They went looking for some catch, some hidden explanation. There wasn't one. The plain truth came back again and again. On balance, people tend to get happier as they get older. They call it the paradox of aging. See? It really is not just you, and it is not wishful thinking. It is decades of solid science. And here is why it happens. And this part is beautiful. When you are young, your future feels endless. So you spend your days chasing, proving, climbing, storing up for some someday that never quite arrives. But as the years go on, something shifts. Time becomes precious, and precious things get savored. You stop wasting yourself on what does not matter. You pour what you have into the people and the moments that do. That is not decline. That is wisdom. That is a person who has finally figured out what life is actually for. And nobody under 50 has it. You had to live every one of these years to earn it. So let me name some of the things that quietly get better after 60. And watch how many make you nod. Here is the first, and it is a gift. You finally stop caring so much what other people think. The desperate need for everyone's approval, the worry over every little judgment, it loosens its grip and falls away. You can wear what you like, say what you mean, Walk away from what does not suit you. That freedom is something a nervous 30-year-old would give anything for, and it is yours now, just for having lived long enough to earn it. Here is another. You know who you are. After all these decades, you are not still scrambling to figure yourself out, to become someone, to prove you are enough. You already know your own mind. You know what you love and what you cannot stand and what you believe. There is a deep, quiet steadiness in that, a settledness that the young are still years and years away from. You are not a half-finished thing. You are the full, finished, well-worn person it took a lifetime to build. Here is another one. That grinding, low-level stress that ran underneath so much of your life is finally gone, or going. The alarm clock that ruled you, the boss to please, the constant race to get ahead, to keep up, to do more. Most of that machinery has been switched off. Your time, so much of it, is finally your own. And after a whole life of it belonging to everyone else, that's not a small thing. That's a kind of freedom most people spend their entire working lives dreaming about. And here is one more. You have learned how to savor. A young person gulps life down without tasting it, always halfway into the next thing. But you can sit with a good cup of coffee and a bit of morning sun and feel genuinely, deeply content. You notice the birds. You taste the food. You feel the warmth of an old friend's voice. That ability to actually be present, to let a small, good moment be enough, is one of the highest skills a human being can have, and you have spent a lifetime quietly mastering it. Now let me ask you something, and I truly want to know. If the world stopped telling you that you were too old, what is one thing you would love to do or start or try now that the time is finally yours? A class? A trip? An old hobby you set down years ago? Something silly you always secretly wanted? Tell me down in the comments. Don't talk yourself out of it. Just put it down there in a word or two. And here's the lovely part. Somebody else is going to read your little dream and feel brave enough to admit their own. You give each other permission just by being honest. And while you are down there, if there is a topic you would like me to talk about, leave it for me. I read every single one, every one. All right. Let's talk about how to actually step into this chapter, and I promise no pressure, no homework, no big leaps off any cliffs. Just a few small, gentle moves, the kind that quietly open a door. Try one this week if you feel up to it, and skip it if you don't. We go at your pace here. Always. And the very first one happens entirely inside your own head. Here is the first, and it might be the most powerful of all. Catch that little phrase, "I'm too old," and gently turn it around. And I'm not just saying that to be nice. There is a Yale researcher, Dr. Becca Levy, who studied this for years, and what she found is staggering. People who held a positive view of their own aging lived, on average, about 7.5 years longer than those who saw aging as nothing but decline. 7.5 years. Your beliefs about getting older are not just feelings. They quietly shape your health, your energy, even how long you live. So when that thought says you're too old, answer it. Say, "No, I'm right on time." That is not foolishness. That may be some of the best medicine there is. Here's the second. Try one small new thing, just out of plain curiosity. Not to be good at it, not to impress anyone, just to feel that little spark of being a beginner again. A library book on something you never studied, a new recipe, a different route on your walk, a class at the senior center you always rolled your eyes at. Lowering the stakes is the whole secret. You are not auditioning for anything. You are just keeping that wonderful old curiosity of yours awake. And a curious mind, at any age, is a young one. Here's the third. Go back and pick up something you set down. Almost everybody has one, a thing they loved and quietly let go of when life got busy. The garden, the fishing, the painting, the piano, the woodworking, the singing. It got crowded out by work and raising a family, and it has been sitting there, patiently, ever since. Well, the busy years are behind you now, and that old love is still waiting. You do not have to be as good as you once were. You just have to begin again. There is a deep particular joy in returning to something your younger self adored. And here is the fourth. Give this new chapter one thing to lean toward. Human beings do well when they have something to look forward to, a little purpose, a reason to get up in the morning. It does not have to be grand, a grandchild to teach a skill to, a small corner of the garden to bring back to life. A trip, even a modest one, circled on the calendar. A cause you care about that could use your hands. Purpose is not something that retires when you do. It just goes looking for a new place to land. Your job is simply to give it one. And let me hand you the truest thing I know about all of this. You are not living in the leftovers of your life. This is not the quiet wind down after the good part is over. Some of the richest, freest, most peaceful chapters a person ever lives come late in the book, not early. Ask anyone who has truly grown old and grown wise, and they will tell you the same thing, almost to a person. So much of what they feared about getting older never came, and so much of what they treasure they never saw coming. The best of your story is not necessarily behind you. A good part of it may still be waiting in the pages you have not turned yet. Now please hear me. You do not have to do any of these things today. If the only thing that comes of this video is that the next time you catch yourself thinking I'm too old, you pause and gently say, maybe not. Then this was time well spent. That small shift is the whole beginning. Be as kind and encouraging to yourself as you would be to a dear friend standing at the start of something new. You would never tell that friend they had missed their chance. You would tell them it is not too late and that you cannot wait to see what they do next. So say that to yourself, because it is the truth. And don't you ever forget how much living you have already mastered. Look back at everything you have learned, survived, built, and figured out. You are not some fragile thing winding down. You are the most complete, most experienced, most fully yourself you have ever been in your entire life. Everything you have lived through did not use you up. It made you. And that whole rich, capable, seasoned person is standing right here at the start of a chapter that finally, after all these years, belongs entirely to you. So here's what I want you to carry out of tonight, and I mean every single word. It is not too late, you are not winding down, and you are most certainly not done, not even close. The science is on your side. The best years often come later than anyone expects. And this chapter, this one right here, is yours to write however you please. Thank you for spending this time with me. Truly. Now go and be gentle with that good heart of yours and maybe, just maybe, let yourself believe the best is still ahead. Because the evidence says it just might be. I will be right here, same as always, with a brand new video every Tuesday. Until then, my friend, take good care of yourself.